A recent judicial decision reaffirmed that while Ripple's programmatic sales of XRP through secondary exchanges did not violate securities laws, its direct transactions involving institutional investors did breach regulatory boundaries. This ruling has become a significant milestone, particularly as the SEC chose not to challenge it, thereby cementing a precedent that could shape the broader cryptocurrency industry. In a connected move, the SEC has agreed to return $75 million of the $125 million penalty imposed on Ripple in 2022, as per a New York judge's decision, reducing Ripple's financial liability to $50 million. This outcome represents a substantial easing of the financial burden for Ripple as it emerges from a long legal battle. With the injunction lifted, enthusiasm within the Ripple community has surged. A user on X, formerly Twitter, highlighted a key implication. Ripple now has the ability to transact directly with institutional players like hedge funds and private equity firms, avoiding intermediaries such as over-the-counter desks. However, despite this positive development, legal caution remains. Former SEC Attorney Mark Fagel publicly noted that even though the SEC has backed off from further action, the initial judgment still holds, meaning that if Ripple resumes institutional sales in the same manner as before, it could again fall afoul of Section 5 of the Securities Act. This underscores the need for Ripple to tread carefully as it strategizes its future moves. The company must ensure strict adherence to securities regulations while pursuing new business avenues in the swiftly changing digital asset space. The spotlight is firmly fixed on Ripple, and the way it navigates these complex legal and regulatory challenges could have wide-reaching implications, and not only for its own growth but also for the future of cryptocurrency adoption and investment. As Ripple prepares to re-engage with institutional investors, the world is watching to see whether it can align its operations with legal expectations and adapt its business model accordingly. The crypto regulatory environment continues to shift, and maintaining compliance will be key to Ripple's sustained success. Fagel emphasized that although the SEC is no longer enforcing action in this case, the legal risks for similar future sales remain. This has direct implications for Ripple's on-demand liquidity, ODL, service, as well as some restrictions may be easing, but the company must proceed with caution. In conclusion, while the legal landscape may be more favorable now, Ripple must remain vigilant, ensuring that its future dealings are above board to avoid further regulatory entanglements. The unfolding of these events could mark a pivotal chapter not just for Ripple, but for how digital asset firms operate under the scrutiny of financial regulations. Let us know your take on this ongoing situation. Can Ripple rise to the challenge? Or will legal uncertainties continue to shadow its ambitions? Stay connected with us for more updates and in-depth analyses as this important story develops. A recent judicial decision has significantly impacted Ripple and the broader crypto industry. The judge confirmed that while Ripple's programmatic sales of XRP on secondary markets complied with existing regulations, its direct sales to institutional investors violated securities laws. This distinction has set a crucial legal precedent, particularly since the SEC chose not to appeal, effectively cementing the ruling's authority. Adding to the positive momentum for Ripple, the SEC has agreed to refund $75 million of the $125 million penalty originally imposed in 2022, leaving Ripple with a reduced $50 million fine. This financial reprieve marks a pivotal moment for the company as it moves beyond litigation and begins shaping its next phase. With the SEC's injunction now lifted, there's growing optimism within the Ripple community. One user on X, formerly Twitter, highlighted that Ripple can now engage directly with institutional investors, eliminating the need for intermediaries like over-the-counter trading desks. This could streamline transactions with major financial entities such as hedge funds and private equity firms. However, former SEC Attorney Mark Fagel issued a word of caution that despite the lifted injunction, The original ruling regarding institutional sales remains in effect. This means that if Ripple conducts future transactions in the same manner as those previously deemed illegal, it may still face consequences under Section 5 of the Securities Act should the SEC revisit the case. This has created a cautious yet hopeful environment for Ripple. While the company is now freer to explore new markets and sales strategies, it must tread carefully to avoid triggering new legal challenges. Staying compliant with securities regulations will be crucial as Ripple expands its offerings, especially in the fast-evolving world of digital assets. These developments have once again brought Ripple into the spotlight, with its future actions likely to influence not just its own path, but also the broader trajectory of the cryptocurrency sector. As Ripple prepares for potential direct sales to institutions, all eyes will be on how the company aligns with regulatory expectations. The legal framework around crypto is still taking shape, and Ripple's ability to adapt could determine the long-term viability of both its business model and its flagship product, on-demand liquidity, ODL. Fagel noted that, while the ruling may remove some prior restrictions on how Ripple sells XRP, the company must remain cautious. Reverting to previously prohibited practices even without direct SEC enforcement could still expose it to future litigation. In essence, Ripple stands at a critical crossroads. It has emerged from a grueling legal battle with some clear wins, but it must continue navigating carefully to avoid future setbacks. Whether it thrives in this new era or encounters further legal hurdles will depend on its commitment to regulatory compliance and strategic innovation. What do you think? Can Ripple successfully pivot in this changing landscape, or will it face continued headwinds? Share your thoughts, and stay tuned as we continue tracking Ripple's journey and its broader impact on the world of crypto investing.